What's going on YouTube? It's your buddy Will from the What's Up in the Sky 37 channel, online at www.whatsupinthesky.com, and you are watching Space News. I haven't done this for a couple weeks. Been real busy lately. Sorry I haven't had a chance to post as many videos as I usually do. Just holidays here in America, lots going on. It's the first one without my father, so we've been just adjusting to the whole holiday thing. So couple cool things have come out. I got about 5 or 6 articles up here. Check out whatsupinthesky.com. There's a couple 3 or 4 people post news all day in the when good stuff comes up in the actual forums there. So if you're not a member there, go sign up as a member. Like I said, Space News definitely I get a lot of these right from there. So this was kind of cool. I think that they're finally starting to come around. Giant crater on Mars was once a vast lake, Curiosity rover shows. And I guess this is NASA's official new um, their their new take on it. So this is their new official stance. A giant crater on Mars may have been able to support microbial life for millions of years in the ancient past because it was once a huge lake of water. New results from NASA's Curiosity rover suggest Curiosity found evidence for the crater lake on Mars in the 96-mile wide Gale crater, which the rover has been exploring since August to 2012 touchdown. Today, Gale crater is a dry, stark landscape, but in the ancient past, runoff from the crater rim created a lake which deposited sediments gradually built up to Mount Sharp, a mountain that rises about 3.4 miles high from the crater center. The lake was large enough that it could have been lasted millions of years, sufficient time for life to get started and thrive, sufficient time for lake sediments to build up and form Mount Sharp. Michael Myers, Mars Exploration Program lead scientist, NASA headquarters in Washington, said during a press conference. So, um, couple pretty cool things here. They basically talk about all the how they came to this conclusion on the rest of this one. Check it out. There's some interesting. Said they're saying basically everything we've been saying from from day one, but we definitely believe that at least I believe that there's still some spots on Mars that can handle running water. Actually, just here at Gale Crater, and I've got a couple videos already. If you search my videos, say water on Mars, um, you can see that it's still seeping up from the ground. So there's still groundwater in Gale Crater that's coming up to the surface, and at least at certain times, and going off. So here again, was ancient Mars may have been more habitable than we thought. Data collected from space, same thing, corrected from the Curiosity River, says Mars once featured a moderate climate capable of fostering lakes of liquid water and even a vast sea, and that the climate could have extended to many parts of the red planet. NASA's Curiosity rover is currently investigating the lowest sedimentary layers of Mount Sharp, a section of rock 500 feet high known as the Murray Formation. Observations taken by the robotic probe suggest that the mountain was produced by sediments deposited in a large lake bed over tens of millions of years ago. The observations strongly suggest that ancient Mars maintained a long-lasting, water-friendly climate. Um, Pretty cool. Scientists have struggled to explain why the mountain sits inside a crater. Last year, a study suggested the 3.5-mile tall Mount Sharp forms as strong winds carry dust and sand into the crater which arrest. It was actually bad news at the time because it suggested that Gale Crater was probably never contained a lake, which was one of the primary reasons why NASA sent Curiosity there in the first place. But this new analysis has revived an old theory which suggests that Mount Sharp is a eroded remnant of sedimentary layers that once filled the crater, layers of silt that were originally deposited as a massive lake bed. Uh, let's see. Thanks to the on-ground observations made by Curiosity, NASA scientists have now caught a glimpse of Mount Sharp's lower flanks, which feature hundreds of rock layers. These layers, which alternate between lake, river, and wind deposits, bear witness to the repeating filling and evaporation of Martian Lake. Rivers carried sand and silt to the lake, depositing the sediment in the mouth of the river and formed the deltas. It was a cycle that repeated itself over and over and again. The great thing about the lake that occurs repeatedly over and over again is that each time it comes back with another experiment to tell you how the environment works. Noted the Curiosity Project science John Grossinger at NASA report. As Curiosity climbs higher on Mount Sharp, we will have a series of experiments to show patterns of how the atmosphere and water and the sediments interact. We may see how the chemistry changed the lakes over time. This is a hypothesis supported by what we observed so far, providing a framework for testing in the coming year. After the sediments hardened the rock, the resulting layers of sediment were sculpted over time to the mountainous shapes and wind erosion that carved away the material between the crater perimeter and now was the edge of the mountain. So greater potential for life? Question mark. The new discovery has major implications for our understanding of the red planet. They suggest Mars was far warmer and wetter in the first 2 billion years than previously assumed. It also suggests that Mars experienced a vigorous and dynamic global hydrological cycle that involved rains or snows to maintain such moderate conditions. It also means that Mars may have featured an ocean somewhere on its surface, and in fact, noted by NASA scientists, if we have a long-standing lake for millions of years, the atmospheric humidity practically requires a standing body of water like an ocean to keep Gale from evaporating. Strangely, while evidence for liquid water on the surface continues to mount, well, that's interesting that they say that there. Strangely, while evidence for liquid water on the surface continues to mount, simulations of ancient Martian climate have yet to show conditions that could have actually produced long periods of warm enough for stable surface water. It almost seems like they were saying now, like in the current time, because I still believe, I think we've got plenty of pictures that look like lakes that have standing water on it. And like I said, and you've got the seeping up of the water from the bottom, so it's not cold. It's not that cold if water's seeping up and coming, dripping down the rocks and onto the mud, and you can see the how far it's dripped. So, all right. According to Basada, even when accounting the thicker atmosphere of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, models can't seem to raise global temperatures high enough. Well, maybe your models are wrong. We're just learning about this crazy world that's up there. And if you check out the channel, there's all sorts of anomalies out there. We're finding what look to be in this silt, in these sedimentary layers. Looks like we're finding all sorts of fossils, things like that. So keep keep on searching. Like I said, if you check the channel out, I'm up to 500 videos. If you check out the website whatsupinthesky.com, we have all sorts of people posting their stuff up there. It's amazing how many people actually do this research and have really spent a lot of time because NASA won't do it. They don't really look at their pictures and analyze things for us. So we've got to do it on our own. And there's some really good people out there doing it. Here's one from Engadget. DNA smeared on a rocket survives re-entry and tells of life's origins. Well, what would you look at? Well, when you look at that, scientists have discovered that DNA can make it through the hellish ordeal of atmospheric re-entry after all. German and Swiss researchers dotted the rocket's grooves and screw heads with fragments of genetic blueprints to see how they'd fare in situations that could have led to the appearance of life on Earth. Scientific American notes that the 13-minute rocket trip might not perfectly represent how DNA might actually travel from one celestial body to the next, that being a meteor, but its purpose is here, but there is purpose here. What the experiment suggests is that even if the meteor has been scorched, that the material can survive at higher temperatures than previously expected. As such, this paints a better picture of just how resilient DNA is. What's next? Pushing the limits further and seeing exactly what it takes to kill the double helix. We're pretty sure at least one rock band is itching to find out. All right, I thought that was kind of interesting. Like I said, all the links will be in the description below, or if you say check out on whatsupinthesky.com, the links will be on there as well in the article. All right, this one was kind of interesting as well. This came from the website actually. This was on there as one of the news articles put up by one of the subscribers. Martian meteorite may contain evidence of ET life. A meteorite from Mars that landed on Earth in 2011 contains a carbon compound that is biological in origin. All right. NASA rover Curiosity is beavering away up at Mars, examining rocks, drilling holes, and checking out weather. But it's not just up there to look at how the planet's hospitality for humans. It's also looking for conditions favorable for life. Not now, but in the past, when Mars may have been home to extraterrestrial microbes. But maybe the answer is right here on Earth after all, in the form of a meteorite. All right, Tissent, I guess how you say that, landed in the desert. I'm not even going to try to say it. Morocco in July 18, 2011. It was thrown from the surface of Mars by an asteroid collision some 700,000 years ago, and there's no other meteorite quite like it. The 7 to 11 kilogram rock, gray rock, seared glassy black on the outside by the heat of the entry, called a fusion crust, showed evidence of water It was riddled with tiny fissures onto which water had deposited material. This material, on analysis, turned out to be an organic compound. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Organic carbon compound, one that was biological in origin. It is not only the meteorite in which organic carbon has been found, but the debate has always been centered on whether the carbon was deposited before or after the meteorite in question landed on Earth, to wit, whether it's terrestrial or extraterrestrial in origin. A team of researchers studied the organic compound from the fissures of descent and determined that it is not of this world. That's pretty cool. There are several points of evidence which put forward by the team. First, there was a relatively short time frame between the meteorite was observed falling to Earth and when it was collected. Some of these meteorites from Mars have been here for hundreds of years. The second of the microscopic fissures in the rock would have had to have been produced by a sudden high heat, such as, for example, the heat of an atmospheric entry. This shock and then the temperatures required to open the fissures could not have come from the Moroccan desert. Thirdly, we still got more here. Some of the carbon grains inside descent had hardened into diamond. Wow. There are no known conditions under which this could have occurred on the surface of the Moroccan desert, and certainly not in the time it took between the meteorite's fall and the discovery. Fourthly, the carbon contained. Look, that's pretty cool. Check that thing out there while I'm reading fourthly. Fourthly, the carbon contains a high amount of what's this say? Deuterium, heavy hydrogen, which the proton with one proton and one neutron in its nucleus, consistent with the composition of the Mars geology. Such an enormous concentration of deuterium, I can't even say this word. Let's see, deuterium. I'm not even going to say it from now on, is the typical fingerprint of Martian rocks as we know already from the previous measurements. Study co-author Professor. All right, let's see. These points are supported by the nanoscale secondary ionic mass spectroscopic data. All right, I'm going to leave it at this because it's going to start getting, but basically this is pretty cool. This thing came in and hold on. And it basically, basically 2001 it was collected really fast. So, but this looked at glassy substance. It's amazing how we even know it comes from Mars. And how it was 700,000 ago. Interesting. So keep on moving right along. NASA Pluto probe wakes up after 9 years slumber in space. I'm not going to go too much into this. I just thought this was pretty cool how this works. The New Horizons spacecraft would come out of hibernation mode in anticipation with rendezvous with Pluto and its moons. The spacecraft will be exploring the solar system's most famous dwarf planet for 6 months, starting in observation phase in January. The New Horizon onboard computer was programmed in August during its latest system check to make a wake-up call on December 6th at 3 p.m. Some 90 minutes later, it sent a signal to Control Center on Earth, informing that it was in active mode. That's pretty neat. It took 4 hours and 25 minutes for the signal to cover the 4.7 billion kilometers and reach its mission operations team at the APL at Johns Hopkins University, where the New Horizons was designed and manufactured. At the moment, the probe is a mere 260 million kilometers from Pluto. We worked years to prepare for this moment, said Mark Holdridge, the New Horizons counter mission. And he was quoted, New Horizons might have spent the most of its cruise time across nearly 3 billion miles of space sleeping, but our team has done anything but conducting the flawless flight past Jupiter just a year after launch, putting the spacecraft through annual workouts, plotting out each step of the Pluto flyby, and even practicing the entire Pluto encounter on the spacecraft. We are ready to go. All right, so we'll see what this turns back. Here was it was another Atlas V rocket that sent this thing off. And this was back in 2006. This was launched. It's pretty amazing how this technology works. I'm gonna say it's just all those miles, all those send the stuff back. Um, keep on moving right along. All sorts of good stuff today. Giant dunes on Saturn's moon Titan, sculpted by rogue winds. I've always heard so much about Titan. Like I said, all the movies always focus on Titan. Like that's the place where we're gonna go get saved. Titan, Titan. Um, you know. Saturn's moon. The towering dunes on Saturn's largest moon Titan may look similar to the sandy hills of Earth's Sahara, but their origins are completely different, researchers say. Instead of forming continuously over time like on Earth, Titan's dunes are forged by short, powerful rogue winds. Reaching heights of more than 300 feet, the dunes of Titan present a puzzling mystery. They seem to form in the opposite direction as Titan's steady east-to-west winds. Two new studies suggest that the rare bursts of winds westward are responsible for these enormous structures. The findings shed light on the remote satellite that shares many qualities with Earth. See right again, we talk about that. The work the works highlights, in fact, that the wind blows 95% of the time might have no effect on what we see. Um, there we go. Blur, formerly with the SETI Institute, and her colleagues conducted their research in a wind tunnel built in the 1980s for studying the physics of wind-blown sands on Venus. There they tried to recreate conditions on the surface of Titan, and that would influence the formation of the dunes, such as the lower gravity and thicker atmosphere than Earth. It was a bear to operate, but Dr. Bird's refurbishment of the facility at a Titan simulator has tamed the beast. It is now important additional NASA's arsenal of planetary simulation facilities. That's pretty cool. So they're actually using some old technology. They revamped it. I wonder what the price tag on that was. Titan's dunes are not made of the kind of sand found in the deserts on Earth, but more viscous material. Viscous material. I think they say that. Scientists don't know exactly what it is, only that it's made of hydrogen and carbon, two ingredients that can be used to create a laundry list of different materials on Earth, from methane to paraffin wax. According to Burr, the hydrogen carbon material may coat particles of water ice. The researchers found that the regular east to west winds are not strong enough to shape the viscous material. I guess that's how you say that, viscous. Someone's gonna. I know somebody. I know you guys. I love you guys too. One of you guys are gonna put that down there how to say that word and the massive dunes, shapes that they're observed. Instead, they believe that the dunes are shaped by short, rapid bursts of westerly winds. The winds on Titan occasionally reverse direction in a dramatic increased intensity due to the changing position of the sun in the sky. Pretty interesting. See the dunes here? 300 feet dunes. It's amazing that we even have these pictures. So this was taken by Cassini, I believe. Yeah, these are radar images from Cassini. It'll be linked if you want to read any more of that below. Let's see here. Now, I thought this was kind of funny. This is why did NASA scientists name geological features on Mars Aztec? Last week, NASA mission controllers for the Mars rover Curiosity spied a piece of rock outcropping with tiny holes, veins, and fractures in the rock. A common practice for the science team to assign names to these targets to make communication easier among team members. This particular outcropping name, Aztec, right over here, is the Aztec. Intrigued, I asked Aztec alum Jordan Evans, a former member of San Diego State Rocket Project and an engineer at NASA's JPL, to break down for me how these things get named. The naming of features and targets, I thought it was kind of cool to figure out how these things get named too. So I thought you guys would like this. The naming of features and targets on Mars is a tricky business, and we have to be careful about claiming to steer it, Evans told me. Officially, features above a certain size like craters, chasms, hills, and planes are named by the International Astronomical Union's Working Group for Planetary Nomenclature. Oh wow, planetary nomenclature. But while we were exploring Mars on a daily basis, we need to have the ability to have a large name features for individual science targets so we can communicate with each other and hand off information from one ship to the next. These names must be easily pronounceable and have common spellings. They typically also follow established names for the mission. This case, in particular mission, Curiosity explores in Mars Gale crater, which has been divided up into four quadrants, or quadrangles, named for the noteworthy sedimentary outcroppings on Earth. Aztec was spotted by the Shoshine quadrant, I guess you said quadrangle, which features geological features similar to Death Valley, California. In Death Valley, the particular sedimentary formation is the Aztec Sandstone Formation, Viola. Alright, so it turns out that there was no special cajoling by Evans to name the outcropping after his alma mater. Just the same, Evans told me that he was quite pleased with the naming. Alright, what becomes of Aztec's Curiosity's 1 gigawatt ChemCam laser blasted tiny holes into the rock and analyzed the plasma generated as a result. By analyzing the light waves emitted by this plasma, NASA scientists determined Aztecs began geological life as a high iron, fine grained sandstone. The presence of these small holes, veins, and fractures highlights more aqueous activity occurred on the rock after its formation and actually changed the chemical composition of the rock. We see yet another example of the long-term presence of water on Mars. Curiosity, this is the second target to be named Aztec on the Red Planet. Earlier in the Curiosity mission, a similar sandstone target had also been designated Aztec. Evans said this makes it only target name ever to use twice in a mission, and very possibly the only time in NASA history that has happened. So, ooh, now we know. So, a Gate Hill and Kazan is the only one there. I think I got one more here. Saturn's moons. What a decade. This was cool. I thought everybody would like to go check this out and maybe play with this a little bit. Saturn's moon. What a difference a decade makes. Almost immediately after NASA's twin Voyager spacecraft makes their brief visits to Saturn in the early 80s, scientists were hungry for more. The Voyagers had offered them a brief glimpse of the family of new worlds, Saturn's icy moons, and the researchers were eager to spend more of time along these bodies. The successor to the Voyagers of Saturn is Cassini spacecraft. It has spent the last 10 years collecting images and other data and has toured the ring planet and its family of satellites. New color maps produced from the trove of data shows that Cassini has essentially fulfilled one of its many mission objectives, producing global maps of the six Saturn major icy moons. Alright, so this is kind of neat how this works here. Basically, they're going to show the 80s. This is a slide bar here. Here's what we knew Saul had back in the 80s, though we knew about it. And here is the new here. And each one under the caption tells you which moon it is. Here's the glaciers, the Gladius. Look at that. I love these blue. Isn't that neat? The blue on the bottom there. It just looks like icy worlds. That's what they call them. Tethys. I like the new maps of them. Dione. Now, I've seen some really strange stuff in some of the really close-up pictures on this body right here. I'd love to see some more from here. That Cassini really has done some amazing. Like it's been out there forever. It's just totally amazing. And look how dark this one. I thought this was kind of interesting. How dark one side of this is. Just one whole side of it's that dark. So this is going to be linked up below. Have some fun playing with it. Like I said, how long do we go here? We went 21 minutes in for Space News. That's not too long. Like I said, I fumbled through some of these. It's been long. I got a lot of work to do lately for my regular job. Just a lot going on in general. Like I said, it's tough first year after losing your father, so especially since he left unexpected. Just one of those things. So much love to you, Dad. Much love to you guys for watching all my stuff. You guys support me. It's amazing. I never thought that you guys would even want to sit here and watch me fumble through articles or fumble through these pictures. But so many more things to come in the future. Uh, we're going to keep on uploading. This is my 500th video upload right here, and I think I'm going to act like it's not and do a 500 video special and do some of the comments and reply to some of the comments and stuff like that. Show you some of the really funny, ignorant ones. 'Cause I really don't care anymore. I'm to the point where like my skin's so thick. In order to have a YouTube account, you gotta have some thick skin. So, all right, guys, much love to you. Hope you're having a good one. Hope you're enjoying your holidays if you are having holidays wherever you are in the world. Much love. Peace.